Hi, I'm Amy Reyes with Rheumatology Network. This week marked the start of the 2020 annual meeting of the American College of Rheumatology. It'll be a virtual meeting this year and could break attendance records. Some of the studies we're covering from the meeting include new therapies for lupus nephritis. Belimumab was shown recently to improve renal outcomes in lupus nephritis patients when added to standard of care. It'll likely emerge as a significant treatment option, says Dr. Fotios Koumpouras, Fellowship Program Director for Rheumatology at Yale School of Medicine and a Rheumatology Network editorial board member. There will be more must-see presentations on lupus nephritis, including the best-in-class calcineurin inhibitor, voclosporin, which, with standard of care, has been shown to improve renal outcomes in lupus nephritis patients. We also plan to cover presentations on COVID-19 and its impact on patients with rheumatic disease. In today's interview, Dr. Koumpouras reviews this and other studies you won't want to miss at this year's meeting.
Okay. Hello, my name is Dr. Fotios Koumpouras. I'm Assistant Professor of Medicine at the Yale School of Medicine in Rheumatology and Program Director for Rheumatology, as well as Director for the Yale Lupus Program. I appreciate the few minutes that you're giving me here today because I'd like to describe the upcoming scientific meeting for the annual College of Rheumatology's ACR Convergence 2020. The meeting this year, as you might imagine, is completely virtual. So I think this allows opportunity for many participants to be able to catch multiple presentations, at least partly, without all the walking. Although unfortunately we'll miss the in-person collegiality that typically occurs during these scientific meetings. So there's a lot of great interest going on in rheumatology, and I wanted to highlight some of the great topics that we'll hear about in the ACR plenary sessions. You're going to hear about new therapies for lupus nephritis. This has made a splash in the nephrology week, but Belimumab, which is a therapy approved for lupus, was shown recently to improve renal outcomes in lupus nephritis when added to standard of care. This likely will emerge as a significant treatment option or for folks who have lupus nephritis. And what we'll see in that data is that not only was it superior to standard of care in reducing proteinuria, but it also was important in reducing renal flares over the 2-year period. I think you'll hear, I'm interested in, and I think you'll hear about another treatment for lupus nephritis, which is best-in-class calcineurin inhibitor called voclosporin. And voclosporin was shown to significantly improve renal outcomes and features of lupus nephritis when added to standard of care therapy. And this would be an oral additional option for patients with lupus nephritis. The data looks very good, and I know it's being evaluated at the FDA level. We're going to see a lot of data around COVID and how they've impacted our rheumatology patients. One of the plenary sessions will be devoted to the outcome of patients who have systemic autoimmune rheumatic diseases who have suffered from COVID. And I think the data strongly suggests that there was actually an increased risk of organ damage in folks with systemic rheumatic diseases who did develop severe COVID. You're also going to hear about hydroxychloroquine, a long-term therapy used in SLE, and there's been increasing scrutiny over hydroxychloroquine or Plaquenil's interference with the conduction system of the heart called the QTC. And you're going to see hydroxychloroquine, which also used in rheumatoid arthritis, good data to show the effect of hydroxychloroquine on the QTC interval in rheumatoid arthritis was minimal. You're also, I'm interested in attending a session on a novel therapy inhibiting complement C5a for the treatment of ANCA-associated vasculitis. So this would offer a new novel therapy for folks who may be failing traditional therapy in an otherwise very serious disease. There's going to be a session that I would love to attend, and unfortunately there's a concurrent session, but this virtually I will be able to see both in my own time, looking at when to stop therapy in rheumatoid arthritis. And one of the plenary sessions will be devoted to discussing cessation of etanercept versus methotrexate in otherwise stable rheumatoid arthritis. And you will see the data suggest that folks who were maintained on etanercept monotherapy did better and maintained remission long term when therapy was de-escalated in rheumatoid arthritis. You're going to hear about osteoporosis and better ways to treat glucocorticoid-induced osteoporosis. And as you know, many of our patients require glucocorticoids for the treatment of their diseases, but that in many cause a thinning or decrease in density of the bone. And we're going to learn how denosumab might be favorable in maintaining bone mineral density when individuals have developed glucocorticoid-induced osteoporosis. I'm also interested in pregnancy and rheumatic diseases, and one of the plenary sessions will be reviewing those women who have interstitial lung disease who have become pregnant and have had deliveries. And we're going to learn that, and you're going to see that those folks who have interstitial lung disease, that maternal morbidity and mortality was actually low in pregnancy in those folks who've had rheumatic disease and interstitial lung disease. So this is a new data to suggest that perhaps this patient population may not suffer the morbidity that we initially thought, so that there's emerging data and guidance of when pregnancies can be successful. The virtual ACR Convergence has set up something called community hubs and even specialty hubs, and this is great. So the participant can come and click on a particular hub that then will lead them to a series of programs related to that disease. The hubs are broken down by disease and are being managed by thought leaders in each of those segments. So it'll be a very easy way for participants to actually come in and click around for disease-specific knowledge. There's going to be a knowledge bowl, and as program director, I'm very interested in seeing the trainees interact. And so the knowledge bowl is an opportunity for rheumatology trainees to compete in a Jeopardy-style trivia question format. And so I'll be attending the knowledge bowl, as it were. And I'll also be attending something called the Thieves Market. And this is a forum where people present unusual cases that have very high teaching value. So I'm very much looking forward to attending those or that session. And there are numerous abstracts that have come out across all diseases. And so the abstract session, I typically focus on lupus, but actually being all virtual has allowed for an easy search for specific topics for the participants to easily access. So I'm looking forward to the actual platform this year.